Tzu Chi International Medical Association in Brisbane offers free clinic service in Tarratown. Tzu Chi helps the rescue workers and care for the victims of the Taroko derailment accidents. Welcome to Thai Headlines. I'm Sandy Yan. Thank you for joining us. Every April, Tzu Chi International Medical Association in Brisbane, Australia, will go to Tarratown for free clinic since 2007. However, owing to the pandemic, free clinic was also halted. A few days ago, volunteers finally got permission from the government and immediately left for Tarratown.
Over 50 doctors, 45 volunteer staff, and 6 cars drove 300-some kilometers from Brisbane to Tarratown.
The volunteers have had Tara residents on their mind. We have not been here for 2 years. If we don't visit, they suffer even more. So we prepared, and when the government gave the okay, we were ready to do the free clinic.
I described it like an ant's nest. One ant can't do much, but a lot of them together can build and just do so much for others and everything. It's tremendous what you've done for our community. It's wonderful.
This old pair of friends reunited thanks to Tzu Chi.
For me, I've been here quite a few times in the past. I always come over and volunteer to help with the whatever I usually help to set up and then to break down again at the end of it. It's just a good thing to do.
I'm completely new and I'm very impressed at the whole setup and the organisation and the good work that's being done.
As it was Easter holiday, there was a full comprehensive set of volunteers available at the free clinic. Besides the medical staff, there were volunteers helping with food, activities, and also a lab on site set up to make dentures to ensure patients can smile with teeth the very next day.
They've been very understanding and comforting and make me feel very welcome into this.
Overcoming the obstacles in times of COVID, team members pour their love into the small town of Tara.
After the forest fire in Argentina, 7 Tzu Chi volunteers formed a disaster survey team and cooperated with local groups to visit the hardest hit areas, hoping to start the distribution of building materials and food as soon as possible.
After the forest fire, the disaster survey team stepped on the scorched land, hoping to help rebuild the town. Collecting raw materials locally, the team molded the bricks and tiles of the house one by one by mixing water and soil together. They also weaved the bamboo cuts from the mountain to make the strongest building material.
Weave this inside, just like that, to be used as a wall.
In less than 2 days, the preliminary outlook of the house has already been done. The local Caritas and the Red Cross also rented tools for the survivors to use. Although the disaster area lacks resources, people worked diligently. Volunteers specially visited the fire station, hoping to provide them with the necessary equipment.
When a firefighter fought against the fire, his home and his son's home were totally burned down, yet he has no choice but to stay in his position. I'm very touched. We also noticed the equipment the firefighters needed, so we have to do our best to help them.
Volunteers also decided that after the disaster survey, a disaster list would be compiled immediately, hoping to provide the survivors with building materials and food in the shortest time. It should not be delayed as winter is approaching.
Today our schedule is to negotiate with building material dealers and large supermarkets about the issuance and materials collection coupons.
The supermarket's owners and building materials dealers were very supportive. They not only promised to cooperate, but also gave out discounts so that this town can resume its past prosperity and excitement as soon as possible.
In Empang Jaya, Selangor of Malaysia, an illegal wooden house area was ravaged by fire, displacing 12 households. Upon learning of the news, Tzu Chi volunteers went to provide care and distributed consolation cash.
In the aftermath of a fire in the wooden house area in Ampang Jaya, Selangor, there are debris everywhere and items that have been burned.
The fire started in an empty house. However, we do not know the cause of the fire.
Yes, the house was burned down and there is only the chicken coop left. I can still earn money as long as my child is safe. My child is my asset.
The big fire has destroyed their houses. The displaced affected residents can only stay at the temporary shelters.
My family has 4 members, me, my wife, and 2 children, and we live with my mother. I was sleeping back then. I escaped when the fire spread to my room.
Unfortunately, a 47-year-old man has passed away in the fire. His family tells Tzu Chi volunteers about the accident.
This is where he passed away. He was sleeping here. We do not know why he was not able to escape.
Tzu Chi volunteers assessed the damages and then distributed consolation cash to 12 affected households.
We understand the hardship you are facing now because we are a family.
Originally, I thought there was no consolation cash, but now we have received your help. I can buy daily supplies for my child, and I can go to the hospital.
The money can be used on the school expenses of my children and other daily expenses. Tzu Chi volunteers sincerely help people. I cannot return the favor.
In the aftermath of the fire disaster, Tzu Chi volunteers have delivered help in time and provided mental support to the affected residents.
A serious fire broke out on Gayam Island in Sabah, Malaysia, destroying more than 70 overwater bungalows. Tzu Chi volunteers rushed to the fire scene to assess damages and hold small-scale distribution to help the affected residents.
The fierce fire has lit up the dark sky. A fire broke out in a village on Gaya Island in Kota Kinabalu, destroying 73 overwater bungalows.
The fire broke out at some time past 7 p.m. It spread quickly that we could not do anything about it.
The electricity was cut off and it was dark. Then a grocery store owner accidentally dropped his candle onto a generator.
The large number of affected residents settled in different shelters. Upon learning of the news, Tzu Chi volunteers went to provide care and prepare a roster.
I was very afraid as the fire spread quickly. We could not help out and we only stood near the boats.
Back then, it was a mess and we could not take our belongings. Fortunately, my family was safe and we received help from everyone.
Some of the affected residents will feel dizzy and uncomfortable once they are on land, so they would rather stay on the island. Some of them are staying with their relatives and friends, while some are staying at the church on the island.
After completing the roster, volunteers prepare the whole distribution, observing pandemic prevention SOP.
We are racing against time. Before coming here, we had a plan. Then, we also adjusted our positions according to the situations. Everyone is working together joyfully.
I'm very touched to have received a call notifying me of the help.
I hope they can use the emergency cash to buy some daily supplies, such as the wooden planks for reconstruction or clothes.
In the aftermath of the fire, Tzu Chi volunteers distributed aid to 74 families, helping them get through the tough times.
In the aftermath of the Turok Express accident, Tzu Chi immediately set up a disaster relief center and arrived on site to deliver hot food and water. At the same time, medical service was provided, and volunteers were offering comfort to the families at the funeral home.
After the crash, it was filled with smoke. A young man was locking on the glass.
Although we were in the very dark tunnel, the light that I saw at the entrance of the tunnel is like a light illuminating the dark tunnel.
救难人员来了。
上去！5跟6。
阮若救过你，阮囡仔还吼，阮这个囡仔抱起来，你才有法度紧张。
大量的伤患，我们先把它安置在铁轨两侧。
People are flat, squeezed together. This is death without thinking. So I told all the rescuers that you would not be uncomfortable to see this, but please believe me that they are all kind. We bravely helped them retrieve his body, and he will thank you. They said, yes, I heard it.
I really feel what is called a drizzling rain falls like tears on a tomb sweeping day. The mourner's heart is breaking on his way, because at that moment it was drizzling rain and the crowds were calling sadly. When the wind blew over, I really felt the impermanence of life.
我们有2位医师在这里。24、25、26、27、28。在第一时间。
We mobilized about 1,000 medical personnel in the first place.
所有的医护同仁。
It needs to be clean and tidy.
Dharma masters from a boat immediately prepared hot food in a boat, and many volunteers came to help to prepare the lunch boxes.
Dharma master, they're all focused on what they can provide.
Tzu Chi also provided dividers to let everyone feel that we are paying respect to the affected passengers.
We brought the letter from Master to comfort the families of the victims.
Hualien Funeral Home has also set up a service station. In fact, we silently stayed with the family who needs assistance all night.
Many volunteers are there to help. Silently accompany them in a way that does not interfere or disturb. They will shed tears, which is also a kind of company and care.
Impermanence is always by our side. Fortunately, I walked into Tzu Chi and learned a lot so that my heart would not be confused.
I think all Tzu Chi volunteers were the light of the dark tunnel.
In typical derailment accidents, the force of the crash caused severe deformity in the carriages. This made rescue effort extremely difficult. In our following report, we'll look at the painstaking process of rescue and how to find the escape route when a tunnel accident occurs.
In the beginning, my breathing was okay, but after a while, it becomes stuffy. For people who have poor health, they would feel very stifling.
On the third day after the train derailment accident, 36-year-old Mr. Shen has written Facebook messages telling everyone of his safety. Therefore, his families and friends learned that he was on a Taroko Express train that derailed.
It was a mess in the train. I was thrown into the top. Inside the train, many people were being pressed down there. Most of them were on the left side. The passengers who were near the front and back doors were severely injured.
Traveling from Taipei to Taiwan for tomb sweeping, Mr. Shen sat in the 8th carriage. He broke his pelvis bone in the accident. Back then, his body was tainted with his and other people's blood, and he heard people screaming and crying.
请问地点在哪里？是大清水吗？
According to the case reporting record, the first passenger to report the accident sat in the 7th carriage.
Starting from 9:31, there were calls. They reported that the train accident has taken place. After 110 transferred the case at 9:35, we confirmed the position and we found out it was at Da Qingshui Tunnel.
The accident happened all of a sudden. Due to the strong impact, the 8th and 7th carriage was severely compressed and destroyed. The 3rd to 8th carriage were stuck inside the tunnel, leaving the 1st and 2nd carriages outside the tunnel. Since the train hit the tunnel walls, there was limited space on the two sides. Many passengers passed away or were injured. As some carriages were stuck in the tunnel and the train became twisted after the accident, rescue workers faced restraints in the small and dark tunnel, and the rescue equipment could not function well.
We were in an enclosed environment, and the exhaust made the rescue workers and the passengers uncomfortable. With the carriage in the tunnel, the remaining width of the space could only allow 1 or 2 people to go through. So when we were transporting the injured passengers, we had to put in much effort. It usually takes 4 people to carry a passenger. However, to ensure people can walk smoothly, 2 people carried a passenger, so we used twice the time and effort.
After the rescue team entered the tunnel, they were inside the carriages in the dark. The 7th and 8th carriage were filled with remains, and rescue workers could only rely on their touch and smell senses.
There might be the smell of oil and blood. There is the smell of human remains, which made the air cloudy. We had to watch out for sharp objects. Because there are places we cannot see, it was dark and we could be injured by sharp objects.
Facing the risk and large number of deceased and injured passengers, the rescue workers had to place saving lives as their priority. The rescue team reminds the public many tunnel accidents are related to the environment. If there was a fire, one must calm down and observe the airflow to escape safely.
Usually when we escape, if the car was on fire, we'll recommend people to go against the flow of the car. I mean, if the car flow was from left to right, then you should escape by going from right to left, going against the flow of the car, because the car flow is following the wind.
Facing all kinds of devastating accidents, rescue workers are on the front line. They risk their own safety to save another life. Their sense of mission is really admirable.
Tzu Chi Northern District Assistive Platform calls for a team of 10 volunteers to repair wheelchairs. In the wake of the Taroko Express accidents, the volunteers are working hard to make the wheelchairs safe and available for injured passengers or anyone in need.
Different brands, different sizes, but what remained the same is the love shared amongst volunteers.
Yes, I brought my own tools. These wheelchairs are repaired by everyone. Tzu Chi sisters are responsible for managing and checking if anything needs replacement. Tzu Chi brothers are the ones who ask us for help. My parents asked me if I'm willing to help because I never really thought I was good at this, so I came here to give as much as possible.
Wheelchairs protect patients while they progress, as each mechanical part has to be installed correctly. A couple running a motorcycle shop joined in, contributing their specialty.
When the message came requesting people who can repair motorcycles, I immediately thought of my husband.
Large and small wheels have a lot of screws, as each screw needs to be locked tight. The brake system also has to be stress tested.
The brake has some problems, so we must make minor adjustments and repairs.
In the Northern District's assistive device platform, second-hand wheelchairs are being repaired, as these devices will be sent to people in need.
In our continuing series about new immigrants, we meet Ran Xingyuan, who came to Taiwan alone at the age of 18 to get married. In order to help the family's finances, she learned tailoring, cleaning for a living, and also fluent Taiwanese. Let's see her story.
Hello everyone, I'm Vietnamese. My name is difficult to say in Taiwanese. I speak Mandarin, Win Xin Yuan.
One is a freshman and the other 11th grader. With their father, they are also pillars in the family, but their mother is only 153 centimeters tall and works very hard.
Yes, I have to mop it till it is very dry, otherwise the resident will slip and fall.
After half an hour of work, the 5-story stairs are cleaned. For more than 3 years, from Monday to Friday morning, she runs to 8 apartments every day.
If you do things with joy and you won't feel tired because I'm married here and I want to help support this family. At the time, my family had to pay the mortgage for 20 years and child's tuition. If I were to rely on my husband alone, there would be no way to support us.
Time pressures involved in garment production are made. After marrying in Taiwan at the age of 18, she has never stopped using her hands and learned everything from scratch.
Before marrying, my father said that if I want to use money, you have to rely on your own hands to make money. Don't rely on others, and don't reach out to ask for money from others.
Hands are moving and her ears are not idle as every minute and a second pass. The work is complete and the heart is clear.
Just like we humans need to drink water, we also need to have Dharma water to nourish our hearts. Because you have Dharma, you encounter things, and you will naturally have a way to change your mindset.
My mother was ill at the time and was with my little brother. We were taking care of her for a month. My wife back then rode a motorcycle and carried her like this.
It really was not easy. When I came to see her mother-in-law before, she carried her downstairs and she still had to ride the scooter.
The perseverance of this Vietnamese woman surprised many. Her son got used to it too.
When someone wants to help, I actually don't need it as I try it myself, unless I can't do it. Yes, that's my mother's influence on me, and it's also my self-discipline.
Don't cry hard, because when you cry, hardship will come. If you ask for a blessing, good fortune will always come.
In Funing County, China, Kongdang Dai village is a place where most of the residents are Confucius descendants. The village had been severely damaged by a tornado in 2016. With the help of Tzu Chi, they recently had a ceremony to honor Confucius. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching. See you next time.